So iRobot was founded by my professor at MIT, myself, and another colleague. And it was inspired by this frustration that we had been promised robots. We've been promised robots in books, we've been promised robots on movies, and the best we have seen is sort of imagination and maybe radio-controlled toys, but nothing practical that we could go to the store and buy that would deliver the type of benefit that, well, frankly, robots are supposed to deliver. And so it was, if not us, who, if not now, when sort of moment, and we founded iRobot to create practical robots that could touch our lives on a daily basis and really start providing value. The idea of home cleaning robots, it's in fact what everyone has always told us that they wanted. I think that the US cartoon The Jetsons and the robot Rosie created an expectation that we were supposed to have robots vacuuming our homes. And so actually from a very early time in iRobot's history, I would introduce myself. Hello, my name's Colin Engel, CEO of iRobot. And the response wouldn't be, good to meet you, Colin. It would be, when are you going to clean my floors? It seemed like there was this pent-up desire for robots that were going to help at home. Our challenge was to figure out how to deliver on that desire. So I remember when, the development of Roomba actually was a multi-year process where we actually built commercial robots that cleaned supermarkets. And then that informed the strategies that Roomba uses for its cleaning mechanism. We built mine hunting robots that actually had algorithms which ensured coverage of fields, and that became part of the Roomba's navigation system. We built low-cost entertainment robots out in China, and that technology allowed us to learn how to make inexpensive robots. And so it all came together over, probably it was a 10-year period when we were learning how to do these things. And then we had this idea, okay, we know enough, maybe it's time to go and kick off a project to actually make a Roomba. And from that moment, 2.5 years passed as we built the technology, built our first prototypes, and had the first Roomba. And we launched it in September of 2002. And we had this satellite media press tour. I remember we had to shut down our website on the first day because we knew how to, we were going to manually mail out all of our Roombas and write all the address labels by hand. And we sold 500 robots on the first day and realized we didn't know how to automatically print any of this, and 500 labels was actually a lot of work. We didn't know what any of it meant other than it seemed like it was pretty exciting. I think the biggest challenge, robots were promised to us back in the 60s, and they were supposed to look like humanoids. And here we are, after 50 years of disappointment, with a small disc-like object which doesn't look at all like what robots are supposed to look like. And so skepticism is probably the largest barrier to purchase. If you don't own Roomba, chances are you don't believe it works. And we've had over the years to try to figure out through demonstration, through advertising where we show the customers really the technology and the idea behind why this thing works, how it gets in corners and under beds. And we really have to go and work very hard for every new sale to get people over that skepticism barrier. When we first launched Roomba, we really thought we had done something special. I mean, after 12 years from the beginning of iRobot, we had heard, when are you going to clean my floors? When are you going to go do something that I can go to the store and buy? And now we had something. And we're very proud of this robot. Very naive, of course, but you know, because it was just the beginning of the robot vacuuming industry. We definitely thought we had done something special. I remember very well feedback first from the press, and without fail, the reporters, of course, were skeptical. Okay, why should robots be now? Why should they be small disk-like objects? This can't possibly work. But you know, this company, iRobot, I've been there many times and written articles about some of their other stuff, so I'll give it a try. And they would bring it home, turn it on, and lo and behold, it would clean their floor. And we got so much positive feedback. Oh my God, I didn't think this would actually work. And you know, there's literally well over 70 top-tier articles in publications like Time Magazine and USA Today, and it was Wall Street Journal. It was remarkable, and I think we had created believers. So that was on the good side. And then, you know, I think we also started learning that homes and test labs are very different, and there's obstacles and challenges in homes. They're filled with things like area carpets with fringe and different transitions, and you know, we would say, well, clearly people should just take these types of objects out of their homes so they can enjoy Roomba, which is a ridiculous thing, but we didn't have, at the time, the technology to solve these problems. And so I remember, again, it was a really important moment when we solved the challenge of robots getting caught on fringe carpets, because now suddenly the number one complaint was taken away, and you know, the industry moved forward. To build a great robot vacuum cleaner, it's not just about taking a good vacuum and putting mechanized wheels behind it. If you're pushing it upright, you're using your eyes looking at the floor to determine whether or not it's dirty or not. So even with all the power in the world through an electric cord, your upright vacuum cleaner can't get all the dirt in one pass all the time. And so one of the things that we uniquely added to Roomba early, and then have improved it many times through Roomba's development, is something called Dirt Detect. So it's the robot's eyes. It can detect when it's cleaning so that it stops. It works on an area diligently until that area is clean before moving on to clean the rest of the home. I think that's a critical feature, also one of many features in that same class that Roomba has, that makes Roomba not just a great vacuum cleaner, but a great robot vacuum cleaner. So the home of the future is not going to be any one thing. It's going to be a place that increasingly takes care of itself and can actually also provide you services if you need them. And depending on your wants or desires, it could have one robot, 5 robots. It could have some number of cameras in the home, or maybe you don't want cameras in your home. You want privacy, and so that you're going to depend on a robot camera which can move around your home and then put itself away when you want your privacy back. I think it's going to be a place where technology and people work in harmony based on the desires of the people who live in those homes. So the robot industry is in its earliest days. We're taking things, chores and tasks in the home that have characteristics that we have to do them routinely, that people don't particularly like doing, and we're creating robot solutions for them. And that's the first steps for the consumer robot industry. We'll continue to do more of these types of tasks over time, which will allow the homes to do a better job maintaining themselves. And there's also opportunities to help people themselves living in the home by having professionals, instead of having to travel to your home like a doctor or a nurse or maybe even a plumber, and instead have the robots that you have in your home be controlled by these professionals and give you advice and help you solve some of these problems. And that's important because society is facing a real challenge that, let's face it, we're getting older. Back 10 years ago, for every one person over the age of 65, there was 7 people under the age of 65. Now the ratio is closer to 4 to 1 than 7 to 1, and continuing to trend in the direction of fewer younger people able to take care of our increasing numbers of elders. And so technology has to solve this problem. So over time, it's not a question of robots taking jobs, it's a question of robots enabling us to maintain our standard of living by allowing us to get the help we need to live independently longer in our own homes. And that's the true promise of consumer robots, and that's what iRobot is focused and dedicated to. The smart home is this idea that more and more things that we put into our homes are connected to the cloud, and thus controllable without us physically having to turn knobs and push buttons. We can talk to a digital assistant like Siri or Google Home and ask it questions and even make requests of it. At this point, we have coffee makers that can turn themselves on. We have robots that can turn themselves on and clean and go plug themselves in and come out every day. So the home is increasingly able to do things if it knew what it should be doing. And the current challenge in the smart home is that telling your home how to behave and programming it to do so correctly is too hard. Because you can go to the store, come home, screw in a connected light bulb. Okay, that's fine. You can even increasingly connect it to your home network without too much of a problem. But the light bulb doesn't know where it is. And so to turn it on, you would probably have to pull your cell phone out, activate the app that controlled that light bulb and say, turn on light bulb 1726. And sure enough, that light bulb would turn on. But where we need to go is to a place where homes understand more about themselves. Right? If I want to say, turn on the lights in the kitchen, well, I need to know what the kitchen is, and I need to know which lights are on in the kitchen so that I can turn them on. And so this knowledge of where things are in the home is critical if our homes are going to behave properly. I mean, if you walk into a room, you want the room to light up. If you start watching television, then move to another room, you might want the TV program in that one room to turn on and the TV in the new room. You want the temperature to operate properly based on where people are in the room and the temperature outside. And all of this requires an understanding where things are in the home, where you are, what a room is, and robots can actually do that. As Roomba moves through your home, it's creating a map of where it's been. With additional technology, we could go and start understanding what rooms are and even what's in those rooms. And so that it creates information that with appropriate privacy permissions and security could be a great benefit to that homeowner in making their home intelligent. And I think over time we're going to see robots playing a very central role in this home of the future, which automatically maintains itself and automatically reacts to your presence and needs in order to give you a great experience with less power, more energy efficiency, and more ease of use. So iRobot is a 27-year-old technology company that has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to try to create this robot future that we have been promised by authors and movie makers for decades. Through the course of our journey, we've solved many, many very difficult problems in innovative ways and developed a IP portfolio, a patent portfolio, protecting that investment. At this time, iRobot has well over 1,000 patents, making us one of the largest and most valuable patent owners in the consumer electronics space today. And, it's due to that hard work and investment of time and belief in the future that allowed us to build up this portfolio. And in order for us to keep going, we need to ensure that we're actually getting paid back for all of those investments. And so that, there's occasional situations where someone, a different company will come in and say, oh, this is a neat idea, I'll just copy it and put it on the market. And we take exception to that because that company hasn't invested in that technology themselves. And if they succeed and it pulled, prices go down, profits go down, the end result is there's no money to put back into research and development, and progress stops. And iRobot's mission is far beyond where we are today. In fact, I firmly believe that the robot industry is just getting started. Roomba's sort of entryway into pop culture has been one of the unlooked for and enjoyable things that has come out completely unexpected. And yet it's been actually quite important. I was playing a video game 2 days ago, and in the hall of the spaceship, there's a Roomba. That's just like, oh my God, that's just crazy. Who did that? But more importantly, when you have 100 million views of cat riding Roomba, well, that's important. That people are knowing. When you have a Super Bowl ad where Roomba is an icon of innovation and technology, and so that you're watching someone's Super Bowl ad and there's Roomba. The social phenomenon that Roomba has become, the part of pop culture that Roomba has become, has been incredibly valuable to iRobot, the company,